Have you ever been called lazy for not wanting to work? Well, I'm here to tell you that whoever told you that was lying. In fact, it's highly likely that they're the actual lazy ones themselves, and it's all just a massive projection on their part. Let's do a quick thought experiment here. We all know that Gen Z doesn't want to work for these low-paying $10, $12, $15 per hour whatever jobs. Let's say working at McDonald's or working at a grocery store, for example. Now, I have a question for you. Let's say you paid a McDonald's worker $100,000 a year. But that's communism! Okay, look, chill out, you corporate shills. I'm not saying that they should actually make $100,000 a year. This is just a thought experiment here. If they were hypothetically paid $100,000 a year, do you think people would be more motivated to work? Do you think people might be less lazy? Well, of course, these are dumb rhetorical questions. Of course they would be. Again, the point here isn't that fast food workers and grocery store workers should be making six figures. The point is that there is a certain level of money that people would be motivated to work for. And if you can't pay that level of money as an employer, they're not lazy for not wanting to work for you. You're the ones who are too lazy to pay them enough money. Before Joe Rogan was the world's most popular podcaster that we all know him as today, he was the host of a show called Fear Factor. This was a show where people did all kinds of crazy shit, from eating insects to being covered in snakes. They willingly chose to do this because if they completed these tasks, they would be awarded with a huge prize of $50,000. By the way, this was back when $50,000 was still a lot of money. The point here is that people are not inherently lazy. If you offer them enough incentive and motivation to do something, they'll literally eat insects for it. If Joe Rogan could motivate people to eat literal vermin and you can't even motivate people to flip burgers, you're the one who's soft, lazy, and entitled, not them. You're the one who's too lazy to pay them enough to where they'll actually want to work. You're the one who's an entitled soft snowflake for thinking you're entitled to cheap $10 an hour youth labor in this dogshit economy where living costs have clearly soared way beyond that.
I don't get the argument that employers can't afford to pay $15 per hour. That's the value of labor. If I can't afford a Porsche, then I can't get a Porsche. I don't get to demand a discount on Porsches. If a business can't afford labor, that's on the business, not on the labor market.
You know, it's funny to me how we consider ourselves such a free market, supply and demand society. I mean, delusional boomers constantly gaslight Gen Z, telling them that their dogshit wages are justified because they just don't have the skills yet and that they're not entitled to higher wages. But, you know, it's really funny that they suddenly become extremely entitled when it comes to defending corporations. I mean, guys, this shit really isn't that complicated as delusional boomers make it out to be. The reason Gen Z doesn't want to work has nothing to do with some complicated BS psychoanalysis about how technology made them lazy or all these other stupid bullshit excuses I hear all the time defending these pathetic corporations. The reason they don't want to work is much simpler than that. The reason they don't want to work is because you're not paying them enough. That's it. It's literally that simple. Imagine if I were to walk into a pizza restaurant and tell them, hey, you know, here's $10. Now, give me a pizza for it. And, you know, of course, they would be like, sorry, sir, have you seen how much shit costs these days? I'm sorry, there's no way we can sell you a pizza for $10 right now. And then me reacting like, oh, but you soft, lazy, entitled snowflakes, I demand you sell me this pizza for $10 now. What's the matter? Are you too good for selling cheap pizzas now? Why doesn't anyone want to sell cheap pizzas anymore? Now, as ridiculous as this all sounds, this is exactly to the letter how soft, entitled these pathetic asshole boomers and corporations are for demanding you work for the pathetic dogshit wages they want to pay. Part 3. Non-financial incentives. Financial reasons aside, there are other reasons some people choose to work. For example, a lot of people take the risk to start their own business, even though it doesn't pay anything in the beginning. This is because they have a passion, purpose, or some kind of vision behind it. Others may feel like they have a decent community and social connections with their coworkers, and unfortunately, soulless modern-day 9-to-5 jobs don't even offer any of that. In fact, they're quite the opposite. Modern workplaces are filled with toxic managers and bosses who are just a bunch of power-hungry narcissists who think they're better than everyone else just because their wages are just a bit slightly less dog shit than yours. They're constantly verbally abusing, disrespecting, talking down on, and spitting on their newer, younger employees. If your corporation is such a dog shit failure that you can't even pay more than $10 an hour in this economy, the least you could do is at least treat your employers with a slight bit of human decency and respect for putting up with your god-awful wages. But they can't even do that. So yeah, when you create a system where you pay people like shit, treat people like shit, and look down on people like trash, they're not lazy for not wanting to work for you. You're the ones who are too lazy to pay people better. You're the ones who are too lazy to even treat them with basic human respect and dignity. Gen Z is not lazy for not wanting to work. Modern jobs, employers, and corporations are the true lazy, entitled snowflakes for creating jobs and working conditions that suck so bad that no one wants to work for them in the first place. Gen Z isn't lazy. Your jobs just suck.